Today, as said the title, we will treat the question, does it really make a difference for the smallholders whether there is the transaction has been made with fair trade certification or not? And as we from PRONATEC have quite something to say, we are have 48 years of practical experience with fair trade. Since the very beginning of the company, it has always been an important thing to have our processes fair as possible. And since it exists, we are fair trade certified. And in the meantime, we have grown, of course, and we have several thousand smallholder families producing products that we buy. And most of them are in a structure which is fair, but it has a fair trade certification. And so we have a lot of occasions to see what the difference is, whether there is a fair trade certification and what's the benefit of it. We see it in various regions, in various social contexts, and also in very different value chains, something completely different, whether it's sugar or cocoa, for example. And in this presentation, we would like to give you an insight about our experiences in the field. And of course, within an hour, we need to make it short, but we want to make it as convincing as possible. And of course, there is no way to be convincing without also mentioning one or the other challenge and inconveniency of the whole thing. Because we never stop learning ourselves as well. So one of the challenges of fair trade is actually that fair trade itself is very easy to criticize. As we see some examples here, it starts actually with the very definition of it. When is something really fairly traded? There is no final universal definition of that, where everyone would agree on. And of course, as any certification, it causes a lot of additional paperwork. It's costly, and a part of the additional costs is needed for financing the organizational backbone of the structure behind. And sometimes it's also an issue whether the last company in the value chain is the one which can profit the most from the additional margin, because it has the biggest possibility to play with the additional willingness to pay of the customers, etc., etc. So there are a lot of points that are criticized frequently, but what to do with it in consequence? Now, we PRONATEC, we chose to participate in the whole thing, deal with the points and see the effects it does and help it being improved and adapted to the time. And some other ones don't participate and develop their own code of conduct and buy in the origin. But this, if it's done properly, doesn't cause less work, and there is no external auditing, which can be a disadvantage. And some others, however, they take these headlines, as we see, as a pretext to say we don't participate in this because it doesn't work. But please confirm our social standards, and you have something to confirm, and done with the work. We would like to show you why this isn't contributing to any good and why it makes sense to participate in fair trade certifications in spite of some criticism. And speaking of criticism, I'd like to start with some self-criticism, because as you saw in the start, we are two white, not yet old men, Europeans lecturing, explaining to the world how fair trade should be, and we have a presentation with a lot of very smiling, happy farmers, and that's definitely a bad start to be convincing. So luckily we realized that ourselves, and we took two measures for this presentation. The first one is that we don't show only pictures of smiling and happy farmers, but also pictures of smiling and happy office desk workers. And there we are, the happy office desk workers. It's not only the production which is audited, but also all the involved actors in the chain. That's sometimes forgot. But the more important measure that we took for this presentation now is that we include farmers into the presentation. We have a group of smallholder cocoa farmers in the Dominican Republic in Yamasa. They are waiting in a room, sitting next to a computer, as we all are. And they will have their say in this presentation, and you shall have the possibility to ask them some questions. We hope that the communication line is holding as well as it did an hour ago. Mm-hmm. But the first part of the presentation, we would like to get into some practical aspects in the field. What are the benefits for the farmers?
Yes, so thank you, Nicolas, for the introduction. So I will have the part to say why we think, why we are convinced fair trade is a good idea. So I want to start with the first idea, and what's a good idea, in our opinion, is long-lasting commercial partnerships. So with the help of the PRONATEC history and timeline, I want to present you some partners we are working with since a very long time. But I want to start in the very beginning. So as Nicolas already mentioned, since a long time, we are involved in the fair trade movement. And this actually started in 1976 when PRONATEC was founded. And the first product, which was a whole cane sugar, it's still a product, it's our sucanat, that's its commercial name, was imported from South America. And along with the organic movement in the 90s, PRONATEC imported the first raw cane sugar or organic raw cane sugar from Paraguay with the commercial name Sierra Mena. This was in 94. So as I mentioned, along with the organic movement. Only 2 years later, there was already not only a raw material, but already a composite product. So the first organic plus fair trade chocolate was launched in 96. And this is where I wanted to present Acupagro. So Acupagro, we supported since the beginning. They were founded in 97. This is a cooperative from Peru producing cocoa. And we supported Acupagro in different ways. For instance, we supported them in the organic certification, but also with the quality management of the cocoa products, like the fermentation and the drying. So can you continue, please? So in the next slide, we want to. This is where actually PRONATEC digs deep into the supply chain. So where our directly sourced approach became reality. Yacao was founded, and Yacao is a producer, processor, and exporter of our organic and fair trade certified cocoa from the Dominican Republic. So this is a daughter company of PRONATEC AG, and we are partner ever since. So can you continue, please? Also in 1999, started the cooperation with La Felsina. This is our partner in Paraguay. They are a producer, processor, and exporter of sugarcane. And we are partner ever since. And this is a very, very close relationship since the beginning. So you continue, please. In 2005, we started a partnership with Premium Spices. This is our partner in Madagascar. They are producing with different cooperatives, producing vanilla, and spices like cinnamon, cloves, and curcuma, which not turmeric. Okay, so what I tried to present here is the directly sourced approach of PRONATEC, which we are living ever since. The idea is to cut short supply chains and to be in direct contact with the partners, in particular with smallholder producer organizations. And we have a very, we visit them regularly. So we have a very good idea how they are developing and their members and what's happening with the fair trade premium in their local communities. So I also wanted to talk about why it is a good idea to be organized. So when farmers organize themselves, it's very important to that they reach like a critical mass, so that they are able to meet specific quality demands of the market, of the customers, and they are able to start they are able to discuss contracts with us, for example. So it's important for the smallholder producers to get organized. But it's not only to be organized to sell the products. It's also to be able to have a democratic process about where we want to go and how we want to go there. And this is like a grassroots movement in the origin countries in the global south to not only produce products which is interesting for customers or for buyers, but also to get organized and for social interaction and for democratic processes. So in this picture, we can see here, this is Acopagro, and so some of their members. This is the cocoa producer in Peru. It is not only a benefit of being organized to be able to access new markets or to guarantee a good quality. It's also very important to have a say in global movements. So the fair trade standards are designed to have a certain interaction in between the origin countries and all the stakeholders in the process. So, for instance, Fair Trade Max Havelaar is let's put it the other way around. In the General Assembly of Fair Trade Max Havelaar, smallholder producers and their organizations have a 50% share, and this is how they can interact and to involve the evolution of the fair trade standard. The same applies for Fair for Life, for instance. This is another certification scheme we are offering to our customers, or like SPP, the Símbolo de Pequeños Productores, which is a certification which is originally designed only for smallholder producers. I forgot to present the upper picture. This is the producer organization from Madagascar producing vanilla. And on the bottom left, we have Fundopo. This is the Fundación de Dominicana de Productores Orgánicos. This is the supplier of organic and fair trade certified cocoa beans in the Dominican Republic. And this is a really recent picture from this year's General Assembly, where they just elected a new board. On the bottom right, we can see now this is the producer organization in Paraguay, working with La Felsina. This is ASOCASE, the Asociación de Cañicultores de la Zona Central. And they are the smallholder producers to produce sugarcane. So what can be additional services like social services? As I mentioned, it's a benefit to be organized in the sense of involvement and interaction, but it's also like a solidarity community. So in this case, and we have we have a good evidence. You can see up in the palm tree, there's a person, a member of the cooperative, who is producing coconut blossom sugar or coconut sugar. And as you can see, this is a very risky task. And this is why the cooperative is, like all the members of this particular cooperative are having a health insurance and a life insurance to cover possible health issues. So this is also a good advantage or a good example of being organized. So what maybe when we think about fair trade, the first what comes to mind is the minimum price. So this is very particular for the certification schemes, Fair Trade Max Havelaar and for instance SPB. So what we do, what we have is a minimum price, and the minimum price allows the smallholder producer organizations to have a certain stability in their daily business and towards their members. So what we can see here is the cocoa price development in the market exchange in, I think it's New York. So the display is US dollars per ton dried cocoa. And as you can see on the bottom in this highlighted section, reddish highlighted section, this is the threshold for the minimum price. And as you can see on the left, in the end of 2019, this minimum price changed from 2,000 US dollars per ton to $2,400 per ton. So every time when the market or stock exchange price drops below this threshold, as we can see in somewhere 2020, the minimum price of Fair Trade Max Havelaar does not allow or it's not allowed to go deeper than the minimum price. So this you can see in the blue line. And effectively, the fair trade price is not only a minimum price, so it's the guarantee of a minimum. It's also the premium, and the premium, we will come to it later. I will explain it in detail. The fair trade price is the minimum price plus 300 US dollars per ton for the fair trade premium. So you can see the difference between the stock or the development of the stock price and on top the fair trade price. Even on top comes the other quality premiums. Like in PRONATEC, we are purchasing almost more than 90% organic. That is why we also add the quality premium for organic cocoa on top of the fair trade price. And this is an additional premium of 300 US dollars. So this is a very good tool to help farmer groups to have a stability and security in their daily business, and have a certain stability for the farmers' organizations. So what we think also is a good idea is the yearly audits. So of these different standards we are showing here. So these are all the standards we are currently offering to our customers. And we try to make a better of the marketing approach to do good and to talk about it. We want to do good and get it verified independently, and then we want to talk about it. So these different certification schemes, as mentioned by Nicolas, they come with a certain bureaucracy, but they also streamline criteria of the fair trade business conduct, and help like all of us in the industry, help us to have like a specific benchmark for and reliability in towards our customers. So why we think it's a good idea? So these are really regular independent third-party audits by accredited control bodies. So regular because it's yearly, and independent because it's they are all ISO accredited control bodies. So they guarantee objectivity and impartiality. And why third party? So they are only, these control bodies are only contracted to do these specific tasks, to do the audit or the scope of these different certification schemes in a certain amount of time directly, but not only with the producers, but also along the whole supply chain with the processors, traders, and at PRONATEC as well. So yeah, next slide, please. So when we change the perspective, I think we have now a very good perspective of the farmer or the member of the organization. So it's the fair trade premium. So the fair trade premium is like what we saw in the graph. It's $300 per ton, and this is a premium which is it's cash against product, but not only. So a certain amount also needs to go in kind directly to the benefit of the local communities where the farmers are located. So PRONATEC AG is very happy to invest more than $1.5 million last year in fair trade premium directly to the farmers, as you can see here. So this is a yearly distribution of the fair trade premium in the Dominican Republic, when they received in cash amount of what they delivered. And now I want to show you some nice examples, or the happy farmer faces Nicolas mentioned in the beginning. What are also examples of this premium usage for the in-kind premium? So on the left side, we can see crafted plants, cocoa plants with enhanced genetic material. So this is distributed to the farmers against the material costs. So this will allow the farmers to produce better quality and have a better harvest than with other different varieties. On the right-hand side, we can see the former president of Fundopo handing over a public fountain or public well for the local community. So this is something the organization decides to spend their money on, and this is how it's implemented in the field. So the producers in Paraguay, for instance, they decided to purchase a tractor to mechanize the field work, to make the field work more efficient and less oxen driven. Yeah. There's another nice example from Paraguay. This is also very practical in hand with the sugarcane production. So the members decided to offer the service of a dentist. So they built up the clinic, a dentist clinic for the members and their families in Paraguay. And also a very good example is here when the premium is used to spend it on education. So not only the infrastructure, but also materials or food for the students is used, or the premium is used for this kind of investments in the future. So now we want to connect with the smallholder producers directly in the Dominican Republic. Hola.
Sí, buenos días. Mi nombre es Merky de la Cruz Manzueta. Soy coordinador de la zona de Hawái, las parcelas. También soy productor. Buen día. Mi nombre es Francisco Contreras Martínez, coordinador y productor de los almendros. Buenos días. Mi nombre es Jorge Valeriano. Soy de específicamente de la Guapa, productor y coordinador. Buen día, mi nombre es Wilson Manzueta, productor y coordinador de la zona de la huella, en Marcela, y pertenezco a la fundación como tesorero.
Ajá, ok, gracias.
Buen día, yo soy Minero Severino, productor también de la.
Ok.
Mucho gusto.
Mucho gusto nuevamente. So what we try to do is to now to do, as I said before, a simultaneous translation directly into English, Spanish. So if you are able, if you're ready to have questions, we will try to translate them. Or in the meantime, we can also start with a more general question about the benefits of being organized. Okay, then con permiso, les quiero preguntar si, si pueden dar unas ideas. ¿Qué es el beneficio de estar organizado en un producto, en la fundación, el Fundopo? ¿Qué son los beneficios de estar organizados?
¿Cuáles son los beneficios de pertenecer a la fundación?
Ok. Sí, recibimos múltiples beneficios al asociar a la Fundación Dominicana de Productores Orgánicos, porque allí hemos podido conseguir mejorar nuestra producción, producir mejor. Hemos recibido muchos cursos de capacitación para que podamos producir más y mejor y producir bueno, producir orgánico. También recibimos incentivos que nos ayudan en la vida diaria. También hemos recibido los beneficios en arreglo de caminos vecinales para ir a las fincas. También hemos recibido construcción de pozos.
Ok. Ok, permítame traducir un rato. So, muchas gracias. So, to the general questions, so what are the benefits of being organized? The senior just answered. So, there are many benefits, and some of the benefits are like the investments, the fundación. So, the fundación means here Fundopo. The fundación is investing in the infrastructure, like good streets or what good streets. So improving the public roads, but also in like building up the public water fountains, and also technical trainings to produce better and more. So the efficiency in the production. This is all like benefits coming from the Fundación Fundopo. So, did I miss something? Okay, muchas gracias. ¿Alguien más quiere participar? Sí, por favor.
Estamos muy agradecidos con la ayuda que nos aporta la Fundación, por los beneficios que nos aporta la Fundación a través de pozos, de mini acueductos,
Yeah.
y ayuda para personas de escasos recursos, ya que sea un medicamento, mejora de vivienda, en fin.
Okay. Okay, gracias. So what the senior just mentioned is also the access to this public water fountains. Yeah. And but also like improvements for their homes. So they can use the premium to invest in their homes, in their fincas or in their farm sites, and also what was the other one?
The medication.
Yeah.
The members who need medication, they receive financial help to finance their medication.
Yeah. Okay, muchas gracias. So, are there some questions in the chat or directly?
Or if anyone able to speak Spanish would like to ask the question directly, feel free.
Okay, so we are collecting the questions from the chat. So so the first session we had was in German. So and there was one question coming up from the participants in the call. So it was what are the benefits? Oh, what are the farmers looking for? Like what could be a better support for the farmers to be organized with the premium? So I will try to translate these questions directly to the farmers, and then I will get back to you. So, estimados, nos llegó una pregunta acerca del o qué se puede mejorar en el sentido de los servicios brindados por la fundación para ustedes y sus familias.
Una pregunta, ¿qué se puede mejorar en los servicios prestados en la fundación para ustedes y sus familias? ¿Qué se puede mejorar? Bien, hasta ahora la fundación tiene un amplio programa de servicios múltiples a los productores, excelente. Pero también se entiende que muchas veces los beneficios no llegan, no alcanzan, no son suficientes. Y la preocupación para la mayoría, para el gran conglomerado, porque todos los recursos tienen limitación, se entiende. Pero para llenar las expectativas de los productores, que muchas veces a nivel de vivienda, a nivel de camino, a nivel de apoyo, de mucha logística que hasta ahora son muy importantes y han cumplido con un papel y eso le ha dado un significado muy importante. Entendemos que hay que fortalecer, ampliar, hacer que lleguen esos planes que hasta ahora son muy buenos y que se les pasa, porque a nivel logístico, en todos los sentidos, han llegado, han cumplido su cometido, pero se entiende que como tiene limitaciones, muchas veces la misma fundación tiene ciertas dificultades para la distribución porque tienen que ir trabajando lo que son las prioridades básicas. ¿Qué estrategia que pudieran implementar para aumentar la capacidad de respuesta a los productores, que son muchas veces asuntos de enfermedades catastróficas, de productores que son de muy bajos recursos, no tienen para solventar una necesidad que son situaciones que muchas veces sin emergencia, la respuesta a la fundación no tiene la capacidad para atender esos llamados y así en cada renglón de la vida cotidiana de los productores poder ir llegando más y dar mejores respuestas. ¿Qué estrategia hay? Porque de verdad la fundación hasta ahora hay que felicitarlo por el gran trabajo, por el apoyo que le han brindado. Nos sentimos satisfechos, muy contentos, pero quisiéramos saber qué hay, porque queremos mejorar. Nosotros como productores, mejorar nosotros también, pero ¿qué ustedes pueden mejorar para que nosotros podamos llegar a más gente y beneficiar a las personas que necesitan?
Okay, gracias. Permítame traducir. Okay, so I will try to translate, but I will cut short, to be honest. First of all, he's very happy about the service and all the benefits of being organized repeatedly, but also he's interested that the Fundación is creating more resources, especially for the technicians, to have a direct answer for the farmers. So it was said that the technicians who move around in the fields, it's difficult to get answers from them because they have to work on other priorities. So the atención al cliente, or the service of the Fundación could improve, that the farmers can get the support, the technical support, and help themselves to improve the production and the efficiency of the production. So this is I hope I covered the sense of the speech. So muchas gracias por la honestidad y sí. Y pues ahora ya estamos corto con el tiempo. Tal vez una pregunta más. So I will just ask the questions in the chat. So what do you think is the most innovative project happening in the Dominican Republic? Entonces, estimados, la pregunta para ustedes es, ¿qué es el proyecto más importante en su comunidad en este momento que Funtopo está ejecutando? Sí, por favor.
Sí. Pero el proyecto más importante de la comunidad es que se está haciendo unos viveros para diferentes plantas, tanto de cacao, que es orgánico, pero también otros frutos que lo necesitamos en la comunidad para avanzar. Y yo quería también abundar en la pregunta de ahorita, es que también la FAO está haciendo grandes esfuerzos en la seguridad alimentaria. Y que aunque la fundación tiene un proyecto, hacer huertos, hortalizas, para que la gente pueda ayudarse en la seguridad alimentaria, que esto sea una implementación. La fundación haga esfuerzo para que se haga.
Ok, muchas gracias por el insumo. So in his point of view, the most important project is actually the nurseries. So where the improved cocoa plants are being produced to be distributed within the communities, but not also the cocoa production is important. Also, like new projects, like to bringing also knowledge and plants of like home gardens to work on the nutrition, or like, yeah, to help to secure the food safety, food security and diversity of the products in home gardens. Okay, nuevamente muchas gracias, señores. Ya nos toca despedirnos. So thanks for the so I'm sorry, I'm lost. So we are closing the call now with the compañeros de la Fundación. So we will come back to another presentation part from here. And so I would like to thank the farmers for their participation and their inputs. But you're very welcome to put more questions in the chat or via email to info@pronatec.com, where we will try to get or we will get you the answers to your questions. Okay, so muchas gracias, señores, por su participación, sus insumos y su honestidad y su
tiempo.
Su tiempo. Ya. Gracias. Y gracias, Leandro, por la organización. Sí. Que estén bien, señores. Que estén bien.
The last part of the presentation, I'd like to talk about the subject of the mass balance, which is often perceived as it's kind of an inconvenient subject to talk about with the customers, and we will show how it rather affects the farmers positively. Now, what does mass balance mean? Some of you might know now. If, for example, if one takes a plate of chocolate, and it's if it's organic, it's straightforward. So one knows it's organic, so it contains only organic products. If it's fair trade, it might have the presentation fair trade mass balance, and there it's much less straightforward. It's not necessarily if it's everything within is fair trade, but it means actually maybe it doesn't contain fairly traded sugar and cocoa, but an equivalent quantity of it has been bought fairly traded. And it sounds as complicating as it actually is. And if we want to take a fictive example of cocoa cooperative producing cocoa, let's say this cooperative is organic and fair trade certified. And every year it produces 5 containers of cocoa. Because all the members are organic and the whole structure, all these containers are organically certified. Now there is a buyer, and the buyer has to be quite clear about how much of it he will be able to resell fair trade, because there is an additional cost coming with it. So he makes his calculations, and his conclusion is that he will have probably a market for 2 containers which can be fairly traded again. So he buys 2 fair trade and 3 only organic without fair trade. He buys it, he transports it, puts it in his storeroom, and he makes a quality control. 2 of them are best possible taste, and 3 of them, the ones not fair trade, are with a medium quality in this example. So now the buyer has a customer. He wants to produce a chocolate which is only organic certified and without any fair trade certification. And you know that for tasty chocolate, it's very important to have the highest possible quality of cocoa. So it's quite clear that he will use the 2 best containers for the production of this chocolate plate, which is only organic and non-fair trade certified. So it's eaten and off it goes. They're gone. And as a next step, this buyer, he wants to produce for another customer some cocoa butter. And this customer, he needs cocoa butter, which is organically certified and mass balance, fair trade mass balance. So technically, there's no problem at all using the medium taste cocoa beans for production of cocoa butter. And it's organically certified, so no problem on that side as well. And now for the fair trade, this container itself was not among the ones traded with the fair trade certification. But as he hasn't used the fair trade certification for the chocolate, he can use the virtual quantity of fairly traded cocoa for this cocoa butter. And this gives mass balance fair trade cocoa butter. It can be perceived with a little triangle thing next to the sign, and that's how it works. That's one example of how it can be working. In short, it means with this formula that the sum of the product bought fair trade has to be at least as high as the sum of the products sold fair trade. That's also the thing that is watched closely during the audit. It has to be ensured all along the process. And of course, there are side conditions as well. So for example, like for like, it has to be really inside the same product, same quality and origin and the like. And there needs to be a balance between the different side product that can be produced out of the raw material that has been bought fair trade. And among the product that we offer, it only exists for cocoa and cane sugar. And the other products don't have kind of mass balance. It's either fair trade or not. Now, why doing this whole thing? So there are some very important advantages. One of this is a lower commercial risk. For trading companies as we are, it's very valuable to have a more higher flexibility, and it's much less risky to have to buy more fair trade, because it's easier to attribute the virtual fair trade quantity to another lot or to another year. And the other point is more flexible logistics. So there is a lower stock needed. For example, if you have a bunch of combination of different lots of different certifications, one can be sure that the day you need one certification, that's the one missing in the stock. So if they have some certifications who allow some flexibility of attribution, it's very helpful. Lower stock means as well lower cost, which is not caused by lower prices for the farmers. Next one. in the end, this lower risk and lower stock cost and more flexibility means that a higher quantity can be bought fair trade, which means that it's a higher quantity of premiums for the farmers. But of course, it's also with disadvantages. It's horribly complex to be communicated to what customers without customers being without the whole scheme being perceived as unfair, and it means some laborious monitoring. Luckily, it's quite automatized at PRONATEC. And two additional remarks: mass balance does only exist with FLO Max Havelaar Fair Trade label with mass balance. So it's the one you see here with the little triangle. And mass balance does not exist with organic, and it does not exist with the other fair trade labels that we have. And it does not exist, for example, for vanilla and ginger and the like, only for cane sugar and cocoa of our products. And for PRONATEC, it doesn't make much of a difference because whether how we buy it, because we have to ensure the traceability anyway because of the organic certification. So whether it's bought or sold traceable or with mass balance, it doesn't make much of a difference because it's in the same traceability system as the rest. Now, as a summary for the whole fair trade system, as we see, the most important advantages for the farmers, as they mentioned before as well, is that there is higher and more stable incomes, and the services by the farmers groups they're a member of. And for the whole value chain, the higher compliance is also clearly an asset. The yearly audits by an external control body give a high credibility. But of course, this doesn't come for free. It's a higher administration burden and cost. And the whole system is not perfect. It's improving, but it's definitely increasing the positive impact of the product. And that's where you all can participate. Most of the suppliers of PRONATEC are actually fair trade certified. And technically, it would be possible to buy much more fairly traded. But for this, one needs to be sure to be able to cover the costs on the next step as well. If one shows the situation of last year, from all the goods we sold, quantity-wise, we have 5% which we sold in the certification of Fair for Life. 35% is FLO Max Havelaar mass balance, as I explained before. 23 is also FLO Max Havelaar, but traceable without mass balance. And not yet 1% is the siglo de pequeños productores, which we hope to improve in the coming years. And there is still 37% which we sell without any fair trade certification. And it's clearly our goal to get as close as possible to zero with this. And so as a conclusion, we invite you warmly to help us increasing this share of fairly traded products. So thank you very much for your participation. We hope you could learn something and enjoy our presentation. Thank you very much.